Erica. For those of you who are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video and wanting to listen to me, Erica, ramble on and talk about books that I'm excited for that are releasing over the spring months. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for returning and wanting to continue to listen to me also ramble and talk about books that I'm excited and eager to get my hands on. In today's video, we're just going to talk about a bunch of books that I have recorded on my spreadsheet, the ones that I'm like highly anticipating. I do have a bunch more that if anyone is interested or wanting to see that spreadsheet, I can definitely link it down below to share with others. But the books that we're going to talk about today are like the ones I'm highly anticipating. So we're going to move through a couple of books for April, May, and June. So grab a snack, get something to drink, and get comfy and cozy before we dive into talking about all of these books, okay? All right, so I have everything on my phone, so I totally apologize if I am looking down or not looking in the camera. But what I'm going to do is share the book. I'll put the book cover on the screen. We'll talk about the release date, and then I will just read a short synopsis about the book. So let's jump right into this because if you watched my booktube newbie tag or whatever it's titled, but if you watched my first video, I did mention that one of my barriers would be editing. So I'm pretty sure this video will be long. So, you know, your girl is going to have lots of fun editing this. All right, so let's jump into it. So I have 9 releases. Oh my gosh, it's such a lot. I have 9 releases that I want to talk about for April. And the first up is A Most Efficient Murder, which is #1 in the Mr. Quayle Mysteries series by Anthony Slayton. And this one is set to release on April 3rd and only on Kindle, I believe. I did try to see or look to see if this would be released like in paperback or a hardcover, but all it says right now is just Kindle, so we'll see. I do have a Kindle that's like collecting dust over there, so maybe I will dust off the old Kindle honey and check out this book. But anyway, the synopsis is: when a party thrown by the reclusive Lord Unsworth is marred by murder, his loyal secretary, Mr. Quayle, must unravel a web of red herrings and old family secrets in this English country house mystery infused with humor, verve, and plenty of surprises. I should have checked. I don't know if this is like a historical mystery, which is like a new genre that I'm like super excited about. So I'm not too sure. I'll check. If it is, I'll put it on the screen. But that's definitely one that I'm interested in. I mean, murder mysteries in an English country house. Yeah, sign me up. Next, we have The Blood Trials, which is the first book in the Blood Gift duology by N.E. Davenport. And this is set to release on April 5th. And it says, blending fantasy and science fiction, N.E. Davenport's fast-paced, action-packed debut kicks off a duology of loyalty and rebellion in which a young Black woman must survive deadly trials in a racist and misogynistic society to become an elite warrior. So I definitely pre-ordered this one. Like, I don't know. I'm usually not a fan of fantasy or science fiction, which is so interesting that I pre-ordered this. But the cover's beautiful. And I don't know, when I read about it, it just seems like something that I want to read or I should read. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see if I like it, because I tend to not usually read definitely science fiction, but I do read it, fantasy here and there, but we will see. Next, Memphis by Tara M. Stringfellow, which is also set to release on April 5th. And it's a spellbinding debut novel tracing 3 generations of a Southern Black family and one daughter's discovery that she has the power to change her family's legacy. I mean, this was an automatic pre-order, automatic buy. Of course it's a debut, so I don't know what the writing is like, but this is really something that aligns with the research that I want to do, tracing generations and families throughout generations. So be on the lookout for a pre-order haul in a future video of all the books. Maybe I'll do it like by quarter, and we'll check in and, you know, expose myself to see if I've read all of the books that I pre-ordered, and if I have, what are my thoughts and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that future video. All right, so next, another April 5th release date. Like, take my money on April 5th, okay? But next up we have Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lynn or Lee. I may have left that off, so I apologize. I'll correct it on the screen. This says Ocean's 11 meets The Farewell in Portrait of a Thief, a lush lyrical heist novel inspired by the true story of Chinese art vanishing from Western museums, about diaspora, the colonization of art, and the complexity of the Chinese American identity. Now, I didn't pre-order this, but like reading this back, I think I should pre-order it because I love Ocean's 11. I'm not sure what The Farewell is. But yeah, I love Ocean's 11. I love a heist, a good heist movie. I don't tend to read heist books, so I should. If you have any recommendations, definitely leave those down below. But yeah, I think this is a great story, a good thing that I really want to read. I know recently I saw, I think on Twitter, I'm not sure which museum, maybe I will input it here on the screen, but I did see that a museum has to return art to Benin in Africa, which also played out in Black Panther. So definitely want to read that. We'll see if I like it, and I'll let you know if I end up pre-ordering that or not. All right, next up is a nonfiction book. It's The Devil's Half Acre, the untold story of how one woman liberated the South's most notorious slave jail, by Kristen Green, and this is set to come out on April 12th. And the synopsis is the inspiring true story of an enslaved woman who liberated an infamous slave jail and transformed it into one of the nation's first HBCUs. I believe a book I read last year called The Yellow Wife, I'll put it here, by Sadiqa Johnson, was loosely based on the life of Mary Lumpkin, who this book is about. I recently found this, just perusing the old Goodreads streets. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pre-order this. I probably will, actually, to be completely honest. I love to collect books about Black history, and definitely want to increase my shelves with more Black history-based nonfiction books. So be on the lookout for that one. Next is Fevered Star, which is the second book in the Between Earth and Sky series by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is set to come out on April 19th. And the synopsis says, the great city of Tova is shattered, the sun is held within the smothering grip of the crow god's eclipse, but a comet that marks a death of a ruler and heralds the rise of a new order is imminent. The Meridian, a land where magic has been codified and the worship of God suppressed, how do you live when legends come to life and the faith you have is rewarded? I'm definitely not a fan of this cover. It's not cute. Sorry, Rebecca. I don't like it, but I did pre-order this to complete my shelves. So we will see how it turns out. I definitely need to reread, what's the first one called? Wow. Black Sun? Is that what the first one is called? Black Sun? So I definitely need to reread that before I dive into that one. Next, another April 19th release is Queen of the Towels by Hannah Alpha. I believe this is a young adult mystery. The synopsis says, They Wish They Were Us meets the Queen's Gambit in the world of competitive Scrabble, when a teen girl is forced to investigate the mysterious death of her best friend a year after the fact, when her Instagram comes back to life with cryptic posts and messages. Now, never watched the Queen's Gambit, and I don't know if they Wish They Were Us as a book, a movie, I don't know. Never seen either one of those, but the cover definitely caught my eye and hooked me. And like, talking about Scrabble, I don't think I've read a book that talked about Scrabble before, so this is definitely on my list of things to order from my library. Next, we have another April 19 release. It's another nonfiction history book about Black folks. It's called Slaves for Peanuts, A Story of Conquest, Liberation, and a Crop That Changed History by Jory Lewis. Lyrical and powerful, Slaves for Peanuts deftly weaves together the natural and human history of a crop that transformed the lives of millions. Author Joy Lewis reveals how demand for peanut oil in Europe ensured that slavery in Africa would persist well into the 20th century, long after the European powers had officially banned it in the territories they control. Need I say more? I don't know. I think just reading that, it just like caught my eye. It's a topic I don't think I've really read much about peanuts and just like crops that were prevalent during slavery. So another one that I must read and I will more than likely buy. I haven't pre-ordered it because I just recently found it, but it's another one that will be on my shelves by the end of the year. Excuse me. Next, we have In the Face of the Sun by Denny S. Bryce, and this is set to release on April 26th. At the height of the civil rights movement amidst an America convulsed by the 1960s, a pregnant young woman and her brash, profane aunt embark upon an audacious road trip from Chicago to Los Angeles to confront a decades-old mystery from 1920s Black Hollywood in this haunting novel of historical fiction from the author of Wild Woman in the Blues. I did read Wild Woman in the Blues, which was another historical fiction that was set during the jazz age in Chicago, and it was amazing. I believe I gave it 3.5, maybe 4 stars. So I'm excited to read this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to pre-order it or not. Like, I keep going back and forth between deciding what to do, but I may just wait until the end of the year when they have like all the book sales and buy just both of her books to add them to my shelves. Well, depending on if I like this one or not. But that is it for April. So next up for May, I have 7 releases that I'm interested in. First up, we have Book of Night by Holly Black, which is set to release on May 3rd. And it says, Holly Black makes her stunning adult debut with Book of Night, a modern dark fantasy of shadowy thieves and secret societies in the vein of Ninth House and the Night Circus. Definitely pre-ordered this one. Thieves, yeah, sign me up. And secret societies, sign your girl up, okay? I've never read anything by Holly Black, so I'm curious to see how I would like it. I did read Ninth House and like that. I did have the Night Circus on my shelves, but I think I may have surrendered it to a local like bookstore or something. I believe I did. I don't know. I don't have it on my shelves anymore, at least, but I'm pretty sure I did abandon it at a secondhand bookstore. Sorry. Next up is The Hacienda by Isabel Canas. This also is set to release on May 3rd. Wow, these dates are like killing me. I should have wrote, instead of the number, I should have wrote the month, because I don't know, I think my brain is just breaking down. Like, May already. Erica, you're looking at things in May. Anyway, Mexican Gothic meets Rebecca in this debut supernatural suspense novel set in the aftermath of the Mexican War of Independence, about a remote house, a sinister haunting, and the woman pulled into their clutches. I mean, duh. This is definitely something that I had to pre-order. One, it has historical fiction elements. I don't think I've read much about the Mexican War of Independence, so definitely another way to increase my knowledge about that subject. Haunting, I love House on Haunted Hill. I did read Mexican Gothic. I believe I gave it a 3.5 stars. It was kind of like slow in certain places, and then picked up in others. I haven't read Rebecca, but yeah, I don't know. This one was just, the cover's beautiful. The synopsis really caught my eye. So it was that automatic pre-order. And I hope I enjoy it. And hopefully Isabel continues to write in like that time period. Because girl, you will have a fan for life. Next is The Stardust Thief, which is the first book in the Sand Sea trilogy by Chelsea Abdullah. And this is set to release on April 17th. It's inspired by stories from 1001 Nights, The Stardust Thief. Wow, that's like super hard. Tongue twister. The Stardust Thief weaves the crippling tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince, and a dangerous quest across the desert to find a legendary magical lamp. Girl, if this don't sound like Aladdin. But I don't want to, I don't want to discredit Chelsea's idea, but this was like an automatic purchase as well. I mean, everything about this just sounds amazing. The legendary smuggler, the cowardly prince, and then a quest across the desert. I'm wondering, I don't know, I've never read 1001 Nights, so it could be like Persian and Arab inspired, which is, or it tends to be like a culture I'm really like interested in reading stories in that vein. So I'm excited for that one. Again, look out for that pre-order haul. You know, we can judge each other to see if we read these books. Oh, and also if you have any book recommendations, that are about like Persian mythology or Persian lore, please put them down below or comment below some of your favorites. Definitely add that as something that I can read in the future, but I'm just looking for some book recommendations that have to deal with Persian or that are Persian expired. Help your girl out, okay? Next up, we have another nonfiction Black history type book, and it's called A Worthy Piece of Work: The Untold Story of Madeline Morgan and the Fight for Black History in Schools by Michael Hines, and this also comes out May 17th. The story of Madeline Morgan, the activist educator who brought Black history to one of the nation's largest and most segregated school systems, is told throughout this novel. I think this would be like a very important read. This will be a very important read, especially with like what's currently happening around teaching Black history and critical race theory and banning of books. It would definitely be something that I want to read up on or more about, just to see, how did Black history get into schools? How is it being removed from schools? And also learning more just about Madeline Morgan. Never heard of that person, but definitely want to read up more about them. So I'm eager to get that. I'm not sure if I'm going to pre-order that. Again, I feel like I'm telling on myself because majority of Black or books about Black history or like nonfiction based books, I usually end up buying once I go to the bookstore. So I haven't pre-ordered it, but I'm pretty sure if I do like an end of the year book haul, it'll be in there. Next, we have another nonfiction Black history book. I need to get like a better way to say that. But nonfiction book. It's called The Black Fives: The Epic Story of Basketball's Forgotten Era by Claude Johnson, and this one comes out on May 24th. A groundbreaking, timely history of the largely wow. Let's restart that, Erica. A groundbreaking, timely history of the largely unknown early days of Black basketball, bringing to life the trailblazing players, teams, and impresarios who made the game. Duh. I'm like, haven't pre-ordered that one, but like reading these again really makes me want to pre-order it. My son plays basketball. I played basketball. I believe my mom played basketball. So just the history of basketball in my family is prevalent. So I really want to read up on, this story. I haven't heard of the Black Fives. So it's something that will be added to my shelf. I do have books, or I tend to read books. I tend to read books about Black history, especially Black sports. I have a bunch of books about the Negro Leagues, and was very fortunate to live in a city that had two Negro League teams, and also we have a Negro Leagues museum. My son plays baseball, so I want to accumulate these books for sports that he's playing, as like a homage or maybe a future gift to build his own library and to have that history. So again, hasn't been pre-ordered, but more than likely it will end up on my shelves. And let's take a water break, shall we? Okay. My throat is so dry. And I think we're like halfway through. So we may have another water break before the end of this video. Next, we have The Merciless Ones, which is book number 2 in the Gilded Ones series by Namina Forna. This is set to come out on April 30th. April. This is set to release on May 31st. Fans of the Gilded Ones and Children of Blood and Bone will love the second book in an epic fantasy series about a girl who is the key to saving the Empire or its greatest threat. I do have the first book. I did pre-order the second, so I can, of course, have those beautiful shelf pictures of the full set. And I believe that this is a trilogy, so when the third one is released, I will probably do the same. But I'm excited to read it. I can't remember what I rated the book. I'm pretty sure like a 3.5 or a 4. Again, I'm not a big fantasy reader, but I tend to enjoy fantasy books about like African folklore or that are African themed and based in African mythology. So I definitely will continue on with this series. We'll see. I know tons of people talk about the sophomore slump, so we'll see if this book is great or not, or succumbs to the sophomore slump or not. The final book for May is Love Radio by Ebony Liddell, and this one is set to release on May 31st. Hitch meets The Sun Is Also a Star in this witty and romantic teen novel about a self-professed teen love doctor, with a popular radio segment who believes he can get a girl who hates all things romance to fall in love with him in only 3 dates. Okay, I usually don't pre-order romances, but this cover is just beautiful. Cover is beautiful. I did enjoy Hitch. I mean, it was a little corny, but I did enjoy it, and I don't think I've seen The Sun Is Also a Star. So really, I don't know if those comparisons make sense, but this was definitely a cover click, cover buy, cover pre-order, whatever we want to call it. All right, so June releases, I, for some reason, did not count how many I have, but I will put it on the screen. But I do know on my spreadsheet, I have a bunch of June releases that I'm interested in. A few of them did get pushed back, but I don't know. I guess June is usually a big time in the publishing world, because I believe from my spreadsheet from last year, I had also a lot of anticipated releases coming out in June. First up, we have The Woman in the Library by Solari Gentile, and this is coming out June 7th. The ornate reading room at the Boston Public Library is quiet until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone inside to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all-clear, 4 strangers who happen to sit at the same table pass the time in conversation, and friendships are struck. Each has his or her own reasons for being in the reading room that morning. It just happens that one is also a murderer. Girl, sign me up. I think, what are these called? Like locked door mysteries, locked room, whatever. Yes. There's also a show I'm watching on Apple TV currently. I believe it's called Suspicious. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. And it's similar to this. It's about like a group of people that happen to be in New York City at the same time. And this like hedge fund politician's son goes missing. And the 5 of them happen to be in New York City at the same time when that person went missing. And so it's like, now we're like backtracking to see if they all were involved in his kidnapping or not. So definitely check that out if you have Apple TV. It's really interesting. A new episode comes out today, so I'm excited to see. It did kind of like, it started great, got slow, and now it's picking back up, and I think we only have like 1 to 2 episodes left, so that's a bummer. But anyway, girl, I'm rambling. That show seems close to this book, so it was definitely something that I had to put on my list of things that I'm anticipating. Next is Empress Crowned in Red, which is book number 2 in the Witches Steeped in Gold. I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy, but anyway, and that is by Cianan Smart, and this one is set to release on June 7th, and it says perfect for fans of Sabaa Tahir, I hope that's how. Perfect for fans of Sabaa Tahir and Claire Legrand. Let me not try to do a French accent. Claire Legrand, the highly anticipated sequel to Witches Steeped in Gold, finds rival witches Jasmine and Araya in an alliance that hangs by a thread with a brand new enemy on the horizon. Now, first of all, this book is 768 pages long. Girl, girl. I don't tend to read books that long. And I believe I listened to the audiobook of the first one, so I'll probably do that for this one. But I think I had mixed feelings with the first book because, again, the length of the novel. So I didn't I'm pretty sure I didn't pre-order this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't pre-order this one just because of the mixed feelings I had with the first. So it's at the top of my anticipation list, but it's something I don't know if I'll spend my hard-earned coin or my hard-earned doll hairs on until after I finish with a sequel. So we will see if that will be featured in a we'll see if that will be featured in a final book haul of the year. You know, when everybody has sales and stuff and my coin can go a little further. Okay, next is More Than You'll Ever Know by Katie Gutierrez. This one also comes out June 7th, and an evocative drama about a woman caught leading a double life after one husband murders the other. Girl. And the true crime writer who becomes obsessed with telling her story. This masterful work of literary suspense marks the debut of an extraordinary new writer. Okay, like I mentioned, I add books to my Goodreads. I think it's anticipated 2022 shelf throughout the year. I have to go back and see when I added this to my Goodreads shelf. So I haven't remember why I added this, but girl, the one husband murders the other. Sign me up, Katie. And I don't know if I pre-ordered this, but now I may need to pre-order this. But yeah, I really like true crime. I listen to a couple of true crime podcasts. So this book is just right up my alley. And I'm all for the men murdering men. A little jealous streak pushing through or not. Before we move on to the next book, let me just say that there must be an incentive or something to release June 21st because I have a couple of books that I'm going to talk about here, and then on my spreadsheet I have a couple more. So I don't know if that's a sweet spot of a date, or is there significance to release on the 21st? But girl, y'all need to slow it down because I'm not made of money and I want to buy all of these books and support everyone, but I can't do that when all of y'all are releasing books on the same day. Okay, I'm just one girl raising some kids in this world with inflation. Let me get off my horse. Okay. The next book on my list is The Ballad of Perilous Graves by Alex Jennings, and this one comes out on that highly sought after date. I don't know. This one comes out June 21st. In a fantastical version of New Orleans where music is magic, a battle for the city soul brews between two young mages, a vengeful wraith, and one powerful song in this vibrant and imaginative debut. Didn't pre-order this one, but I am going to New Orleans at the end of June with my sister, and I think there's one or two bookstores that I'm really interested in visiting, so I will definitely purchase this book and read this while I'm in New Orleans to get those spooky vibes. So I would definitely do a vlog and everything around that, purchasing and reading this book. So stay tuned for that. And if you don't like spooky stuff, maybe not watch that one. Just kidding. Watch all the videos, okay? Yes, help your girl grow, okay? No, let me stop playing. But definitely stay on the lookout for a future reading vlog of that book. But look at that, just the cover is beautiful. I just hope it's spooky, ooky vibes that I can read in July. End of June, beginning of July in New Orleans. Next is Romance. Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. Another June 21st released. A reality star and a cupcake baking football player pretend to be a couple in order to save his bakery in this sweet and sexy romance from Jamie Wesley. I think this is a debut. Again, I'm not a big romance girl. Mainly because some of the tropes are just too fake for me, which is so interesting to say. But yeah, some of the tropes just don't work for me. But I do like fake dating tropes, so I'm excited to read this. I hope it talks about food because I love cupcakes. I loved all sweets, to be honest. So I'm excited to read this one. And the cover is beautiful. Next, we have another baking related romance about Black folks. It's called Don't Go Baking My Heart, and it's book number 2 in the Island Bites series, maybe like companion novel. This is written by N.G. Peltier, and this also comes out June 21st. Devon King has a plan, or is it Devin King? Devin King has a plan, an actual with bullet points and everything planned for his life. When he's called out at work for never participating in any of the office activities, he feels compelled to take part in the upcoming office bake-off competition to prove he's a team player, as making partner at his architectural design firm is top on his list of career goals. Only problem, he doesn't know anything about baking, of course, like a true man. Failure is not an option, so when his first choice for help is unavailable, desperate times lead him to ask Reba Johnson, assistant pastry chef to his brother's girlfriend. I did read the first book, I don't know if this is a series or a companion series, last year and really enjoyed it. It was set, I forget which island, but it's set on an island and just like all talking about food and love. So the characters in this story, Reba was mentioned in the first book, so it's cool to get like her story and learn more about her throughout this book. So I'm excited for that one. Next is This Wicked Fate, book number 2 in the This Poison Heart series by Kaylin Bayron, another June 21st release. And it says, would you tempt even the most dangerous fate to save the ones you love? Merciless has one chance to save her mother, but she'll need to do the impossible. Find the last fragment. Girl, why can't I read? Merciless has one chance to save her mother, but she'll need to do the impossible. Find the last fragment of the deadly, Absterous heart. Girl, I'm gonna put the word on the screen, honey. To locate the missing piece, she must turn to the blood relatives she's never known, learn about their secret powers, and take her place in their ancient lineage. Ugh. Yes, another pre-order. I mean, you can see one plant, but I have multiple plants around me in this room. Briseis, her power is like through plants. I'm a plant girl. It's something that I do with my kids in our garden as well as with my grandma. So any book that has to do with plants, botany, sign your girl up. Okay, so I definitely pre-ordered this one because I do own the first book. So again, beautiful pictures on shelves. To have that complete set, I do want it. But I did read this book last year, and usually because I tend to read a lot of books or consume like a lot of information, I can like remember tiny bits and pieces of stories. But this book like stuck with me for weeks. Like it was so good. Again, just the like plant themes and the lineage and the heritage, all the things that I tend to like in a book. It was just great. The writing was great. So I'm excited to continue in that story with Mercedes, and just in that realm. Next, let me just say, do y'all see this cover? Like, ma'am, the beads, just a piece of art. Beautiful. This was an instant click, cover click, whatever we're calling it. Instant purchase for your girl. The Final Strife by Sarah Al-Arifi. It's set again, girl, another June 21st release. Like, these folks in this date, just, Sarah, you did that. Whoever designed your cover, they did that because it made your girl click. What's that meme of Bow Wow? Girl, sign me up. I clicked that pre-order so fast. But let me tell you about the book. I'm over here fangirling about the cover art. I haven't even told you about the book. In the first book of a visionary African and Arabian inspired fantasy trilogy, 3 women band together against a cruel empire that divides people by blood. There's that Arabian theme again. So maybe I'll do like an Arabian themed reading vlog. I should look up to see if there's like, I know there's like states of significance in Arabian culture and Arab culture, in Arabian culture. So maybe there's like a themed month, you know, like how they have Pacific Islander month and Hispanic and Latinx heritage, or Latine. I don't really like Latinx. And those type of themed months. So I hope they do something similar. But maybe I'll have a reading vlog. If not, we'll just read together. And maybe we'll read some of the suggestions that folks offer. But Sarah, I pray I enjoy this book because you have a trilogy, and if you're continuing to make covers like this, you have a fan. Okay, a fan. We are down to the final 3, y'all. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know this is a long video, my first long video, but thank you so much for sticking around and listening to me ramble about these books and talk about other stuff that don't have to do with books, right? Okay. Oh, excuse the sound in the background, okay? Pittsburgh, where I live, we have a snowstorm that is apparently coming tomorrow, but yet my window is open today. Like, this Mother Nature, honey, is like truly, she must be like going through menopause or something, because girl, it was just 70 last week at the beginning of the week, then it dropped, warm today, snow tomorrow. I don't know. See, I'm getting sidetracked. All right, let's finish this up. Let's wrap this up. Harlem Sunset, which is book number 2 in the Harlem Renaissance Mystery series by Nikisa Afia. This one comes out June 28th. And from the author of Dead Gworls, next in the Harlem Renaissance Mystery series that takes place in Harlem in 1927. And it says, when Nora Davies, one of the girls Louise was kidnapped with, reintroduces herself, Louise is wary to connect. By the next morning, Nora will be dead, Rosa Maria Moreno covered in her blood, and no one can remember what happened. So our girl Louise is our main character, our protagonist, and she lives in Harlem in the 1920s during the Harlem Renaissance, which is like so amazing, such a time period I love, and I love to read books about that period. So I did read the first one in the series, and Nikisa, it was just so good, like the imagery, and it was so vivid, and just everything about the Harlem Renaissance really came through that book. And then a mystery, there was a mystery. I did kind of figure it out. It wasn't that difficult. But I did have a good time reading it and really enjoyed it. But I definitely suggest reading that if you are looking for a new historical mystery. If you're looking for a new historical mystery to set your eyes on. Next is American Royalty by Tracy Livesay. This one also comes out on June 28th. In this dangerously sexy rom-com that evokes the real-life romance between Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle, a prince who wants to live out the spotlight falls for a daring American rapper who turns his life and the palace upside down. Now, I told y'all I'm not a fan of romances, but this cover, and I'm obsessed with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. I had to pre-order it. Instant click, bow wow click, honey. Bow wow pre-order, honey. I instantly bought it. So we'll see if I like it, because again, I don't tend to read romance, but this one just sounded great. So another pre-order. And finally, we are going to wrap this up with a thriller, psychological thriller, I guess is the best way to call this. The Wife Before by Shanora Williams. And this one also comes out on the June 28th. A new bride's fairy tale marriage soon becomes a prison of secrets in this insidiously sexy, twist-filled psychodrama reminiscent of the classic Gothic tale. Oh, Rebecca again. From New York Times and USA Today best-selling author Shanora Williams. Now, Miss Shanora, honey, I did read The Perfect Ruin by Shanora last month, and Shanora did that, okay? It was a perfect psychological thriller that had some twists and turns, or it was a perfect psychological thriller that did have twists and turns, that did kind of catch me off guard. But overall, it was great. So I'm excited to continue to read more by Shanora. And this one just sounds great. I guess I need to read Rebecca, because it's the second time something has been compared to Rebecca out of my list. So I'll have to add Rebecca to my growing TBR. But that is it. Those are all the books. That is it for this video. Thank you all for suffering through listening to all these books that I'm highly anticipating over the next 3 months. I will put the total amount of books that we did discuss today on the screen. But again, yeah, I appreciate you all sticking throughout this video, sticking with me throughout this video. If there are any releases that are on your list that I might have missed, please be sure to comment them down below. Anything that you think I may enjoy that maybe I've missed, be sure to comment. Also, what else are you anticipating? Maybe there's some more things that I need to add to my list. I don't, but I'm always curious about some other books. So be sure to comment below any other releases you are excited or anticipating or you pre-ordered. And we can have a chat in the comments. Have a great day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. And also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in my next video. But I'm going to continue. I will continue to do that Bow Wow pre-order. Let's just call it that, right? The Bow Wow click. Yes. Your girl will continue to use the Bow Wow meme when I'm clicking on those books. But yeah, I'm out, y'all. I'm rambling. I'm wasting y'all time. Okay? Have a great day. Peace.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.